Here we go. Now we're going to make a copy of an angle. And we're going to be able to make a copy of an angle whether the angle is acute or whether the angle on number 9 is obtuse. So if I want to make a copy of an angle, the very first thing I do is very much like making a copy of a segment. When I wanted to make a copy of a segment, I had to first draw a ray. I'm going to do the same thing here. Draw a ray. And I'm not going to make mine. I'm just going to make it right about here. I'm going to draw a ray. Like that. Draw a ray. Let's call this angle over here, let's call it angle D, which means if this is angle D, what would the end point be called over here? D prime. Now what you want to do, once you've drew your ray, I've done that twice already, is you're going to put your bullseye on D. And we need 2 equidistant points. So because I don't know where that is, I'm going to adjust my slider so that my holder goes through. And so I'm going to tighten it up right about there. I need to make sure that my slider, my holder is going to hit right there. Bullseye was on D. And then you traced an arc from D out to the holder, making sure that it touches the angle on both sides. If that's what you did here, then what should I do next? Where does the bullseye go next?
D prime.
Perfect. Put your bullseye over D prime. Make your arc. Now I need to label some points over here. Let's call this point here E and F. There's an intersection from this arc and this angle, and one of them is, I'm going to call E, the other one I'm going to call F. So do you know where F prime is? Label it. And basically, we have this distance is the same as this distance because we've copied this side. Now I just need to copy another side, and I just have to know how far is it from F to E. Here's what I want you to do next. Put your bullseye on F and adjust your slider until the holder is directly over E, directly over the intersection of E and that side DE. My holder is directly over that intersection. And I can check by drawing an arc right there. From F to E, I tighten it up. What do I do next?
Put it on
The bullseye goes to F prime. And now you know that distance. So what does that make that intersection right there at the top? What is that called? What do I have to connect now? There you go. And guess what we've done? We have now copied the angle. Let's verify. I'm just going to double check that my angle is the exact same angle. I'm getting 55 degrees. We'll go over here. And that looks to be 55 degrees as well. They look like they're the exact same angle measurement-wise. So what you did here is the exact same thing you're going to do for number 9. So let's go down to number 9 and make sure that you're able to do it. Make a copy of the angle. The first thing I need is I need to, I can label it. I need an arc. Let's see. Let's call this one JKL. Let's do that one. So let's call it K. And then I'm going to draw an arc. And I guess I did not draw a ray yet, but I should draw a ray because I don't have a ray to copy this to. I'm going to call this one right here. And I will label this one as K prime. Let's label some other points. I'm going to call this point J and this point KL. There we go. L. JKL. And now I have this measurement from K to L that's from this bullseye to the holder. What do I do next? Where does a bullseye go next? Over the K prime. I agree. And since I have to make an obtuse angle, I'm going to make sure that I go nice and wide. Make it nice and wide from your K prime. I'll pull that away. I don't know if it's better if I leave the ruler on there or pull it away. What do you guys like? When I pull it away, you can see what it looks like?
Yeah.
There you go. I'll pull it away then. So what is this point going to be called that I'm pointing at?
L prime.
Good. And we have the distance K to L. We have K prime to L prime. All we need to know now is how far is it from L to J? Where does the bullseye go next?
On L.
Put it on L. Then I have to adjust my slider until I get the holder directly over point J. Do I have that distance now? Where does my bullseye go next?
K prime.
Nope.
No, L prime.
L prime. What is this intersection called?
J prime.
So the last step that I do now is I connect which one to which one?
K to J, or K prime to J prime.
If I wanted to, I could actually measure this angle to see that they are the same, but I guarantee you, if you had this on your paper, I would see that you did it correctly. And I'd say, oh, that's just right. Perfect. How do I grade these on the test?
You look at them.
I look, and if I see the arc and the intersections in the right spaces and things are labeled, oh, you get 100%. If you do not have the arcs, then I go, oh, they don't know what they're doing, and you don't get credit for these type of questions. So it's literally when you have your paper and it looks like this, then I give you 100%. It depends on what you're doing and where you're putting things. Let's go back to number 8. Remember what bisect means?
Split in half.
You need to cut it.
We have to cut it directly in half. So how are we going to do that? We're going to first need to label some points. Let's call this one Y. And let's put the bullseye on point Y. What I need to do is I need to make sure that my holder will touch both sides of this ray. So I'm going to adjust my holder now to make sure that it touches both sides of this ray. Tighten it up. And then I'm going to make an arc that creates 2 equidistant points away from point Y. Thank you. Let's call this intersection X. Let's call this intersection Z. So the first thing I did is created an arc. Now I have 2 equidistant points. Well, I need a third equidistant point, but I need them from these 2 equidistant points. Let's do the bullseye on point X. And I'm going to make an arc, but I'm going to put it way out here in the middle of this angle. Somewhere in the middle there. Using X as my center. From X, I now have 2 equal points. From X, where is it? That's my first bullseye. My second bullseye should be where? Z. And then you make another arc from Z. And guess what? You now have an X that marks the spot of the halfway point.
Oh, that's
No way. No.
It's exactly down the middle. So how do we figure out, how do we bisect the angle? We have to cut it in half. I'm going to go from that X marks the spot to the vertex. Take the vertex through that point. And what you have are 2 equal angles. This angle is the same as that angle. I can measure how many degrees they are. To verify it, 26 degrees. Let me measure this way, it'll be easier for me. Oh, 27 degrees. I was close. I was 1 degree off. How come I'm off? Because I probably had my holder or my bullseye in the wrong spot. But that's definitely close enough if I'm within a degree. You should be able to bisect this angle as well. Okay? So where are we going? I'm going to stop right now to give you a chance to do number 10.